Stay classy, Golden Eagles. So this is going to be day 2 of our lesson focused on the book, A Picture Book of Harriet Tubman. Today's focus is going to be inferencing. We're going to take a look at 4 specific sentences that come up in this book, and we're going to try our best to inference from these. Okay, I know we don't have partners, so you're going to just be thinking about these yourselves. And I want you, every time I stop and I'm like, hey guys, hit pause, take about 30 seconds, think about what you can inference from these particular sentences. And then when you come back, hit play, and I kind of will walk through with the inference that I get from it. Now, it may not be exactly the one you get, but I imagine some of our stuff is going to line up a little bit. Again, this video, since I think it took 3 videos last time to read the whole book, I'll go a little bit faster this time. I'm not going to show the pictures. If you want to see the pictures again, go back and read watch those 3 videos from day number 1. Okay, but otherwise we're going to get started on A Picture Book of Harriet Tubman. I'll stop at these spots, of course. Harriet Tubman was born in 1820 or 1821 on a large plantation in Dorchester County, Maryland. Records were not very good at this time, so people didn't really keep like birth certificates, so it had to have been like somebody had to remember, be like, oh yeah, you were born. So that's where it's like, oh, they're not sure if she was born in 1820 or 1821. Although the plantation had a big house with many rooms and fine furniture, Harriet was born in a small one-room log hut far behind the big house. The hut she was born in had a dirt floor, no windows, and no furniture. Harriet was the 6th of 11 children. Her father, Benjamin Ross, and her mother, Harriet Green, were both slaves. They were owned by Edward Broadus. He owned Harriet Tubman, too. The slaves worked hard all day, but they weren't paid. Harriet hated slavery. She was wild and often beaten. She was not willing to do as she was told. One time when Harriet was hired out to work for someone else, she saw a bowl filled with lumps of sugar. She said later, "Now you know, I never had anything good, no sweet, no sugar, and that sugar right by me did look so nice." She took one lump from the bowl. Harriet's mistress, Miss Susan, saw her take it and chased after her with a whip. Harriet ran from the house and hid with the pigs. She ate potato peelings and other scraps until she was so hungry she had to go back. When she did, she was whipped again and again. Edward Broadus sold lumber, apples, wheat, and corn that grew on his plantation. Sometimes he took slaves he owned and sold them too, down the river, as it was called, to other plantations farther south. Harriet saw 2 of her sisters taken away in chains. Harriet was afraid that one day she would be sold too. When Harriet was a young girl, abolitionists, people who were against slavery, began to speak out and protest. Abolitionist newspapers were being published. Nat Turner, a young slave who knew how Moses had led the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. Nat Turner, a young slave, knew how Moses had led the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. He hoped to lead his people out of slavery too, and in 1831 he started a rebellion. Slave owners, their wives, and their children were killed. Nat Turner and others were caught and hung. Harriet dreamed that one day a true Moses would lead her to freedom. In 1835, Harriet came between a master and a slave who was running away. The master threw a metal weight at the runaway, and it hit Harriet instead, and it almost killed her. We're coming up pretty soon to our first inference point, so be on the lookout for it. Harriet had a deep cut in her forehead that never fully healed. For the next almost 8 years, Harriet suffered from severe headaches and sleeping spells, but she survived and thanked God for saving her. After the incident, she prayed often. In 1844, Harriet married John Tubman, a free man. They lived in his cabin near the Broadus plantation. Harriet was thinking about running away. She wanted John to join her, but he would not. He said that if she ran off, he would tell the master, and soon the patrollers and their dogs would be after her. I'm going to read that part again. This particular sentence is what we're going to focus our first inferencing point on. He said that if she ran off, he would tell her master, he said if she ran off, he would tell her master, and soon the patrollers and their dogs would be after her. What can we inference about that particular sentence? I'll read it one more time. He said that if she ran off, he would tell her master, and soon the patrollers and their dogs would be after her. Go ahead and hit pause. I'll tell you guys what I inferenced on video number 2. So go ahead and end this video, think about it, and start up video 2.